Beautiful St. Moritz, high in the Engadine Valley in the Swiss Alps. We're ready for the second and deciding heat, the fifth race of the Men's Skeleton World Cup for 2018-2019 on an Olympic track that has been used twice for the Games in 1928 and 1948. Hello everybody, I'm Martin Haven. Welcome back to our second and deciding heat in the Monaco of ice sliding, the only natural track on the planet. Alongside me, Aussie slider Jacqueline Narracott. Great first heat for some of our fancied sliders, Jax.
Yeah, pretty popular course aside from Marcus. But yeah, everything going relatively to plan.
Alexander Chetikov lying in third place. The Russian rocket 33 hundredths off the lead. His teammate Nikita Chegibov 300ths of a second faster. There are a lot of close battles in the field, aren't there?
Yeah, which is surprising for such a long track. There's a lot of ties, which is nice to see.
But head and shoulders above the field is not the man who won last week in Innsbruck, his 51st career win, Martin Stukur's. It's Sunbin Yun, the Olympic champion. Now, Yun's had 2 silvers and 2 golds in the last 4 outings here. I think he won't settle for a silver today.
Not a chance. It's gold or nothing.
And you'd expect to see Martin Stukur's on this track of all, perhaps, at the top of the tree, but he popped the groove on his first push and only just made the field. He was 20th after the first run. So Yun is clear, perhaps, of the other battle for the podium, which is Chegibov, Tretikov and Thomas Stukur's maybe. Young probably not going to make a third of a second up on the Russians. Kevin Boy, a great run for him to tie for 6th. And as you said, ties all the way down the field as well. Some of our earlier starters, some of our later starters ending up right together. And in 20th place, Martin Stukur's just made the cut. Kilian von Schleinitz, Alex Hansen, and Amir Ambel, Basil Sieber joining those who don't on the track side. So final adjustments to the sled. You can't change the runners themselves, but you can adjust the setting. And Jackie, of all tracks, this perhaps you have to chase the weather because it started out bitterly cold this morning, very frosty. Now the air's a bit warmer, the track will be a little bit more slippery and harder to control, or?
Yeah, so the sun's out, which is amazing. So the sun's now starting to sprit some of the corners. You've also got, we had 25 sleds down, so that's gotten rid of some of the frost as well. It'll be a case of whoever can stay nice and relaxed, then they'll be fine.
To put two good runs together, easy for me to say. Well, there's Gung of China, trying to get himself back into the zone. And Chegibov in front of the Dracula start building his fabulous facility here. That's the only permanent bit of the track, apart from the wall under the ice at Sunny and at Horseshoe. Martin Stukur's first off, Gung of China second, then Carl Brown, Vladislav Harris, Cabbage, Greg West, Jerry Rice, and the rest as we start to look at some ties being broken. Down the order, we had a tie for 13th place, we had a tie for 8th place, we had a tie for 6th position, and some very close gaps before we get to the yawning margin that Sunbin Yun has over the field. 5th race of the World Cup, and with 20 sleds in the second heat, first, not last off, is last week's winner, Martin Stukur's. This time, though, the sled stays in the groove, and Jacqueline Narracott, that's what set him to the back of the field in the first run. The sled popped out.
100%. The rest of his run was really nice, but when you push 2 tenths slower than you're capable of, it's...
Yeah, that was a 5:01 is a sort of gentle jog off in training. 4:82, much more what we could expect. So he's 2 tenths up already on his first run. He should be in the leader's box for a good half dozen sleds and maybe more.
Oh, easily. This run is looking really good again. Building speed nicely.
We have a track record today. It has now been set by Sunbin Yun. There have been no races on the track this year, so the first man off, Austin Florian of the USA, set the new track record to start with. Yun's left it at a 1:08.2. It's going to be interesting to see how close Stukur's gets. 1:04 off the Horseshoe, fastest, 1:14.2. Nobody that quick in the first heat either.
This is more what we were expecting.
Ooh, little tag on the wall, 1:36. Big speed down at the bottom of the track. What's that in miles an hour? It's 84.7.
Wow.
Wow, okay.
There we go.
Now, the track is quicker than in the first heat for the reasons we've explained. Overnight low is about -25, which is colder than your freezer at home. And it is warming up now. Standing out in the sunshine, actually, you almost don't need a jacket. In the shadow, you definitely need everything you own in terms of warm clothing. Well, that's where it all went wrong for him in the first heat, but no mistakes this time.
Well, even then, he kind of got a bit lucky. Like, it came out a little bit, but no problems this time.
Down at the bottom, just a tiny tag out of Sachs. A little bit of a smile there from Martins Ducours. He's going to need a jacket. I think he's going to be in the leader's box for a while.
Yeah, definitely.
So Gung of China then was a 10th ahead of Martins Ducours, but 300s behind Kyle Brown, 500s behind Harris Cabbage, 700s behind Greg West, a 10th behind Jerry Rice. Billy Schneider yelling him off at the top. And as he did with the Russians, not just coaching the Chinese, but building their sleds as well. 5:07. Again, as the frost comes off at the top of the track, some of the overnight low goes, there'll be a little bit less stick on the runners as you're pushing, so you hopefully go a little bit quicker.
In theory, yeah. Plus, with a little bit more adrenaline, like run two, usually you're a little bit quicker.
Yeah. Plus, it's not so achingly cold when you're warming up as well, or standing on the line.
That helps.
Near naked in your thin layer of lycra. I mean, the air temperature at the top is still -18. It's not warm by anybody's standards.
Good looking run here from Gang.
Yeah, tiny little touch out of Horseshoe. 1:03.8. Now, everybody in the next sort of dozen sleds is going to look slow compared to Martins Ducours. It's a good looking run, though, isn't it?
Yeah.
Nice and smooth.
Loaded some good speed.
Yeah, very good. And his first run, a 1:09.6.
Should go close to that at least.
1:35.8. That's very good speed at the bottom. Oh, big hit. 1:09.6. So 1:09.06.
6/10 faster than the first
Yeah.
run.
And that's, some of that is, there is a little bit less stick in the track, and so the sled moves a little quicker, and a lot of that will be himself dialing him into the conditions today. Well, still very much a work in progress, Gung, on his second full season of World Cup sliding.
Bit uncertain there coming out of Horseshoe, a little bit high late. And then a bit of a skid going into Leap.
Not too many places on this track where you see the sled actually bouncing around. That's more artificial track, isn't it? But it's so quick there.
Such a nice change being on nice, natural, soft ice.
Kyle Brown of the USA, third off, 17th after the first heat, and in a 400ths of a second battle with his teammate Greg West, who'll come up in 2 sleds time, because we're now in this group covered by the tiniest of margins. 5 sleds covered by 700ths of a second. That's a good view of how everybody's starting over on the right-hand wall to lead you into kink 1.
Yeah, it's one of those weird corners where essentially it is a flat wall, and particularly this year there's not a lot of corner there, so you need to start as far over as you can to have any chance of turning it.
So 4:98 start.
Bit of a flop coming off Snake 1, like many sleds.
You can see how the sun is already on the track at Sunny. The reason it's not on the corner is because they have shading up there permanently. Nice straight run out of Nash and Dixon down to Horseshoe. And a good take on onto Telephone as well. Picking up speed, 1:03.7.
Similar speed to Gang.
Can hear lots of toe steering going on there. He's not quite feeling the love. 1:12.8. Phenomenal speed. I mean, you've got long straights and long corners here because you couldn't carry that speed on any artificial track. The corners are too severe, right?
With the exception of Whistler, but Whistler's so steep that you get that speed anyway.
So 1:09.19 from Kyle Brown, and that's 1,300 slower than Wencheng Gung of China. So he slips a spot behind Gung, and Martins Ducours stays in the leader's box. So 3rd of our 3 sleds so far, Kyle Brown.
Bit of a skid there.
Yeah, just get out that tiny little touch. So frustrating, isn't it?
Oh yeah, particularly like that's a brush. It just hurts mentally more than physically.
Next up, Vladislav Cabbage of the Ukraine, one of the younger sliders in the field, turned 20 last week, but as you can see, His father, a strongman competitor, and Vlad started in weightlifting, strongman and mixed martial arts before turning to skeleton.
Without problem this time at the start with 5:15.
5:15. Now, he too popped out of the groove in the first heat, didn't he? But his sled dropped back in with the other runner, and so kind of straightened itself up. So it didn't really cost him a huge amount. But he starts 1600s quicker than he did in the first heat.
Nice entrance there into Snake, and you can see a bit of a smoother exit.
Now, one thing that he does do is he teaches himself to try and keep rigid form, really disciplined about that. And if you can get yourself used to that and then learn how to handle the speed, it should serve you well in the long term. 105.1, very big speed from Vladislav Cabbage. This is what he was doing in training. This is one of his fast five. Wow, this is insane speed. The track is quicker than the first heat by some margin, but even that 115 Ks really motoring on. Down at the bottom, 85 miles an hour.
This is more like what he would have been expecting run one.
Wow, 108.61. Well, that's only 1 second and 100 faster than his first heat. 108.61. Fourth fastest time in the first heat, set by Thomas Ducour. So the track is quicker, but that was Vlad as well, wasn't it?
100%. A lot of that was Vlad.
Yeah. That was the sort of run he's been laying down. And again, he's still relatively new, getting that consistency. And of course, not having the momentum at the start because the sled popped out as well. Then he's sort of pulling it instead of pushing it. Look at that. Nice speed off the horseshoe, and he's in second to Martin Ducour's.
The two of them should gain quite a few spots from here on in.
Well, let's see what Greg West can produce. 16th after the first heat, 200s ahead of Heraskevich, and 1700s ahead of Martin Ducour's. And look at the unique fingertip starting style. Gets loaded nicely. That has to work it a little to get into kink one. Come on back, baby. Nice. Right, 5:05, fraction quicker than his first start. Greg will be in the booth calling the women's race later on this afternoon.
Nice entrance there.
Nice exit out of Sunny down Nash and Dixon. All right.
Keep it off the wall. That's better.
Nice looking run into the horseshoe. Decent height.
Not bad.
Yeah. Plants it in the middle of the track on the way out. 104.1. Decent speed. Vladislav Heraskevich. 105 kilometers an hour there.
113.9. Building speed really well down through this bottom course.
Whoop. Little brush on the wall. And then having to fight it down the straight, and that cost speed 132.6 to 136.8 of Heraskevich, and again a steer between Martineau and Portago leaves him third at the line at 109.12. Well, that's over half a second quicker than in his first heat, or just under half a second quicker, 4800ths. Leaves him in third spot, and yeah, 3/10 nearly behind Heraskevich. And those errors low down when the first mile of ice has been pretty clean, and then those quick corners just come at you at the wrong place.
That's when it gets frustrating, when you know you're having a smoker and it just starts to go wrong. Right here.
A little nudge away, and you can see the tape coming off, because tape doesn't stick in these temperatures.
Unfortunately not.
And then, to add insult to injury, he has to wrestle it away from the line. Looking to go up, and instead slips down. Martin Ducour's leads. 5 down, 15 to go. Sunny St Moritz with crackling ice under the feet of Jerry Rice of Great Britain. The first of the 3 GB skeleton sliders we get to in this 5th World Cup race. Jacqueline Narracott sitting alongside me. Jerry had some pretty decent training runs, but he was off early in the first heat. Is that a factor, or was that more driving error?
A little bit of both, but given Austin went so fast, I think part of it at least was definitely Jerry not being quite so settled.
Well, he had a decent smile on his face. I mean, it's hard not to, good or bad run, when you're in such a fabulous environment, but Little flop off snake there isn't going to hurt. It's not going to help him too much either.
Good entrance there in the horseshoe. Nice and relaxed.
Now he's the first athlete who's been ahead of Martins Ducours at horseshoe. Now he drops into the red. This is where all the British sliders have been losing time, men and women, below horseshoe.
Reasonable speed though.
Yeah.
Let's see if he can hold it.
Well, 2Ks down on Vladislav Heraskevich.
Managing to keep it reasonably middle into them.
And that rub on the wall, 134.2, pretty decent speed. He's in second place at the moment, ahead of Heraskevich. And that's where he stays, 108.69. Tied with Vladislav Heraskevich. So his enormous first heat advantage over Vlad of 0.08 of a second didn't survive. But a 4.85 getaway, only Martins Ducours has gone quicker so far.
Bit rough, they're coming off snake 2, snake 1.
Yeah, snake 1 to 2, Nash to Dixon, and then particularly from tree on down, the fast part of the track, and that leaves you late off Sachs. Then you get the tap, the skid.
And then it's just frustrating from then on.
Yeah, so Martins Ducours stays in the leader's box. Next up, another, or the first of our ties, another tight battle. We've got Florian Auer versus Austin Florian. So apologies, Austin Florian, when I confuse Christian name and surname, but you know, I didn't baptize you with 2 Christian names. I'm sorry, that's with 2 surnames. Here we go. So the Austrian goes first. 5:10 start in the first heat. There's his dad on the wall in the red jacket. Christian Auer, one of the legends in the early days of skeleton. 5:09. Just goes a fraction quicker than his first heat. Well, you can run forever here if you want to, can't you? I'm not sure what the win and loss ratio is in that.
Depends on the person.
Yeah. Depends how you keep accelerating. It's not the steepest drop over the brow.
No, it's a little bit different.
So 1700s behind Martins Ducours. But he built speed all the way down the run. He didn't have an electrifying start, but didn't lose too much below horseshoe. Here we go, into the middle of horseshoe, nice height.
Nice exit too.
Yeah.
105, nicely done. Great speed.
Joint fastest speed with Vladislav Heraskevich of the Ukraine. Here we go, and this is what Flo did in the first heat, isn't it? He just chiseled away at the bottom part of the track.
Yeah.
Right there with the fastest sled. This is quicker, better top speed than Ducours. Tiny brush on the line, 135.7. So this will leave him maybe in second, tied with Jerry Rice and Vladislav Heraskevich.
Ooh, nice.
Oh, he's in front of them by 2/10. So 108.57, he is second to Martins Ducours, but that's a really nice run.
Continuing his really good season.
Yeah. So Florian Auer in his 16th World Cup. Best race of his career, 10th place in Sigulda, the season opener this year.
Nice and high here through horseshoe. Straight out through the exit.
Yeah.
Slight brush there, but nothing major.
He got a little steer in, didn't he? Just as he was starting to drop out of horseshoe, gave him the line. Shoulder up there, big steer to stay off the wall.
Good idea.
Yeah.
Better to steer there than hit.
Yeah. Control greatly underrated here in St. Moritz, I think, sometimes. Austin Florian of the USA then, first off in the first heat, and that in St. Moritz is the last place you want to be, no matter what you're racing, because you get the coldest ice, whatever time of day. But he put in a really good run, and that's another good first kink and another big start, 494.
Again, looking nice and relaxed and comfortable, sled going straight. Building speed really well into wall.
Listen, when you're going 85 miles an hour at the bottom of this track with your head on the ice, being relaxed seems very counterintuitive, but that is absolutely key, isn't it?
Yeah, it's a lot easier on this track than on some of the others too, because it is so smooth and you don't feel anything. It's really easy to relax.
And that means that your body then is a damper. It stops the sled rattling and bouncing as much as it should do. Out of the horseshoe, nice line, 104.2. Decent speed from Austin Florian. At the moment, he's in third place on the splits behind the man with whom he's tied, Florian Auer.
Getting a little bit late to these bottom 4 right-handers.
Ooh,
Just avoids the wall.
yeah, losing time. This isn't quite as neat as his first heat. It might end up being quicker, but it's not quite as tidy. And big height in the final corner, 108.97 to a 109.45. So that's half a second quicker. But he comes across the line in 5th place, ahead of Greg West by 3/10.
Not going to be particularly happy with dropping that many places.
No. Well, again, there may be others in front of him yet to come who will drop places as well. So where you cross the line isn't always where you end up.
Nope, particularly not here.
Yeah. Just got away from him a little bit at the bottom of the track, didn't it?
Yeah, that skid coming out of Gunter and then the hit going into Portago.
So every name here has history and a reason why it's named, apart from nameless, obviously. Next up, Dave Kreszczeshin of Canada.
Come on, Grizz.
Yeah, come on, Grizz. He was pretty ropey at breakfast this morning. Let's hope he's feeling a little bit better now after a good first heat. Put him on the fringes of the top 10. 5:03, and it was a quiet-looking bottom part that helped him recover from a bit of a fidgety top of the track. And again,
Oh, skiddy. Come on, Grizz.
so 3rd fastest start in a heat so far. And like Vladislav Cabbage, to a degree like Martins Ducours and Nikita Chegabov, he carries a lot of weight on the sled. Big, tall guy. All right, let's see what he's got in the horseshoe. Again, he was probably the highest line in horseshoe in the first heat. Landed it well, though. 2/10 back. Speed out 104. Fastest was 105.
Starting to bring it back now.
Yeah. 113.7, just about a kilometre an hour down on the fastest. 4th place at the moment. And gets a good steer out of Sachs. Here we go, this could be a 3rd place run. 135.3, good speed for Grizz. And at the line, it is the 3rd place run, 108.75. Appreciation there from our leader, Martins Ducours. So Grizz slips in behind Florian, who is still 2nd behind Ducours. So Auer's already picked off Austin Florian and Dave Kreszczeshin, even though he's lost a spot to Martins.
Not necessarily to be surprised by.
No, absolutely. If Ducours is behind you, you know you're going to lose at least one.
Yeah.
Not a bad run from Dave Kreszczeshin.
No, just a little bit skiddy up top and then a bit of a hit going into telephone there.
I don't know what wife Jess's surname was before, but I guarantee it was easier to spell than her married name. Hey, everybody back at home. I'm going to try and get rid of the germs before I see you in the week. So, Ronnie Arderset now for Switzerland on the fringes of the top 10. Came out late, 20th of our starters. The 28-year-old mechanical engineer in his 31st World Cup. And to date, this could be his best career result. 488. Look at the confidence. Yeah. Well, he was 200s out of a top 10. And if you found it...
Just tagged the wall.
Yeah. He's trained strongly as well. He's had good speed in training. Ooh, little wriggly through snake. Let's hope he's not tightening up because of the opportunity to score well. 2300s up on Martins Ducours, the leader. Only one sled's been in front at Horseshoe before now, and that was Jerry Rice, who gave away speed at the bottom. The margin is tiny, 103.1. It's okay. Come on, Ronnie, relax into it.
111, down a couple of K. Come on, Ronnie.
Well, if he slots in ahead of Florian Auer, he's in with a really good shot of a top 10 result here, and that would be great at home in Switzerland. 134, good speed. Oh, hit on the wall. Is he going to be 2nd or 3rd at the line?
Oh.
Wow, that hit really, A, hurts, and B, hurts physically as well as time. Yikes, that was a 2nd place run until the exit of Martineau. The founding president of the St. Moritz Bobsleigh Club did not look after a native slider at all.
That's not fair.
That was tough. That was shaping up really nicely until the exit of the penultimate corner. Well, a little tag there, but it's right down at the bottom.
That's not helping. Just, unfortunately, not enough speed going into the final, the bottom 4 right-handers.
10 down, 10 to go. Martins Ducour's the leader, but with the fastest 10 sleds still to come here in St. Moritz, ahead of Florian and Dave Christcheshin. Jacqueline Narracott, we've said, you know, that hitting the wall early on costs you more relatively in speed than hitting the wall lower down, but again, as so often in bobsled and skeleton, one touch in the wrong place can just be disastrous, and we just saw that with Ronnie Odderset, on for second place, then big hit between the final quarters, and boom, 6th place is gone.
Yeah, it's just the bottom couple of corners at the moment seems to be, if you don't have the speed going in, any single little brush, or if you're like a little bit offline, it's just absolutely killing you. And we saw that with Ronnie.
Well, there's the brains trust of Martins, Thomas Ducours, and you saw Father Dinis Ducours there. He runs the track in Sigulda, coaches the brothers, builds the sleds, or helps build the sleds. I mean, it's a real family team. And you saw in the changing rooms our next athlete, Jack Thomas, getting ready to go. Donna Crichton up there, former World Cup slider, one of your rivals for many years. She's coaching the development program now. And the familiar logo of the Dracula Club over the start building. The Dracula Club built there by the millionaire playboy Gunter Sachs in the 1970s. And his son Rolf now, in fact, owns the Olympic Stadium down below us, which you've seen a couple of shots of. That was where they held the curling and the speed skating in 1928 and 1948. Next year in St. Moritz, Youth Olympic Games. So they'll be sliding on the same track that they used in 28 and 48 for bobsled and skeleton, although in 28 and 48, the Cresta Run was an Olympic event. They're not sliding the Cresta. But down on the ice, they're going to have speed skating in the open in the Olympic Games.
That'll be cool.
That is going to be so cool. So luge, bobsleigh, skeleton here next year for the Youth Olympic Games, and speed skating on the, hopefully, frozen lake. 5th race, the Skeleton World Cup for men. We're in fabulous St. Moritz, Switzerland. Martin Haven, an Australian slider. Jacqueline Narracott watching the action trackside as we get into our top 10 with Jack Thomas having a good run in the first heat. Let's see if that inspires him to relax into his second slide. 4:87, that's a quicker start. It all helps, Jacqueline.
Oh, definitely. Particularly when it's as tight as it is through this group.
Well, you can see just the end of the runners coming towards us. That's exactly what you want. 3,300's up on our current leader, Martins Ducours, who should be in the top 3 here on any other day, but sled came out of the groove in the first heat. He was 20th.
Gap's starting to come down a little bit, just that rough exit out of Snake.
Now, all the British sliders have been good at the top of the track, not so good below here. Horseshoe, the signature corner, and again, bit of a heavy exit. 102, he's lost 2 or 3 kilometres an hour on top speed. But he is the only man who has held a lead out of Horseshoe over Martins Ducours. 1:11, 4 Ks down.
It's not going to be enough.
No, he's not going to have the lead, but will he be in second place at the line? Oh, you voiced the hit between Martineau and Portago. Should be second at the line. No! Wow, where's that gone away?
Again, similar to Ronnie, just being 4K an hour down going into tree. It seems to be killing people.
Eventually it catches up with you, doesn't it? It is so fast at the bottom.
That sucks.
Yeah, well, that's a tough break for Jack Thomas. 6th with 9 to go.
Still one of his better results for the season.
Yeah. Yeah, a little heavy off Horseshoe, and that's where the speed starts to go away. Not bad there.
Might have driven it a little bit too hard to try and keep it off the wall.
Everybody heading home for a week or 2, maybe. Next up is our World Cup debutant, Artem Drozdov of Russia. Comes from a school volleyball background, no previous professional sport background before he joined the skeleton team in 2012. 15 Europa Cup races in his career. He raced here January 2017, so he's been down this track about 10 times before this week.
Changes every year, as long as you know which way the corners are going.
Yeah, left, right, right, yes. So Drotstov just looked very relaxed, which is unusual, you know, with cameras and all the noise and hoo-ha of a World Cup race, compared to the tumbleweed silence of racing in Europa Cup. That's true, though, isn't it? Your first time in the big show. Oh, it's all very different.
Yeah, it's weird being at the top of the track and seeing cameras right in your face, or right behind you, too.
He adapted very well, I thought. Still in the lead over Martins Ducours as he gets to Horseshoe.
Ooh, the tap on his skid.
Not as tidy as the first run so far. Only 4th or 5th in terms of speed, 103.5. 112, quicker than Jack Thomas, but not as quick as Vladislav Heraskevich at 115. Big shoulder steer as he comes into Sachs, and that might help him keep the speed alive. 133 is not bad, but he's going to drop a handful of places at the line. And only 9th, 109.26. His first heat, 109.25. Now, in a young slider in his debut, 2 heats 100th apart, normally you'd go, fantastic, mate, do that. However, here, I think the body English tells you all you need to know. He's not got a bad set of shoulders on him, has he? No. Yeah. No, nice young guy. Really interesting to chat to him yesterday, and unfortunately, the second heat kind of got away from him a little.
Unusual position, first World Cup.
Yeah. But to have that first run shows the potential that's there.
Which has got to give him massive confidence for the next World Cups.
Yeah. I don't know when he'll be back on the World Cup trail. He's here because Vladislav Marchenkov is training up for next week's Junior Worlds. So it might be the last time we see him this season. Don't think it'll be the last time we hear his name, though. Into our top 8. We had a tie for 8th place between Artem Drotstov of Russia and Great Britain's Marcus Wyatt. Well, Wyatt with more experience. 8 World Cups more, in fact. 484 getaway, that all helps. Now, he was the top place to the British slide. You see him leaning the sled over to the right. Come on, stay here. Fascinating when it's so slow there, you get such a long look at the slider's body.
Which when it's going well, is great. When you start tapping walls, like, okay, just get me in the next corner.
No, I know. And when we watch it, particularly with the bobsleigh, we go, no, okay, stop, just stop. All right, not bad. Down to Horseshoe, still in the lead over Martins Ducours by 36 hundredths. 3/10 up, 104.1. Okay, here we go. This might be the slide that pushes Martins Ducours out of the leader's box.
Nice entrance there.
113.7, good speed. Marcus Wyatt keeping his speed and his form better than in the first heat. This is going to be key. Just avoids the line. 134.6, decent speed. He's going to lead at the line, or is he? Will that take it out of him? Ducours or Wyatt? Oh, by 400s. 108.40. I think Martins Ducours' feet are probably turned to ice by now. If he can move.
Definitely.
Yeah, he's frozen to the spot. Okay, so Marcus Wyatt guarantees himself at least an 8th place finish. Last weekend in Innsbruck, 6th in the World Cup, his best ever result, but he'll be happy with that.
As he should be too.
I think that might be his best trip of the week.
Today's the only day that matters.
Again, a little rocky in Snake 1 and 2. Yeah, tiny little toe steer.
Nice line in Horseshoe, nice and high.
And you can see there the bend in the body. He's using the whole body, almost like a high jumper bending over the way. You see the way the body is guiding him through the corner. 7 to go. Kevin Boyer of Canada tied for 6th position with Christopher Grother of Germany.
Come on, Kev, nice and relaxed.
Yeah, Boyer, his dad's birthday today, on the brink of a really big result. 496, that's as good as his first heat almost.
Keeping it nice and straight down the wall.
Well, he came out late in the heat, 22nd, so his first task was to make the second run by getting into the top 20. He did that in spades.
Nice exit out of Snake.
1400s behind Marcus Wyatt. He was a little slower at the start.
Come on, Kev.
He had 700s in hand from the first heat.
Yes.
Nice. Okay, so here's where the speed comes. 104.3, good speed. Little quicker than Marcus Wyatt.
Oh, brush.
All the ice comes flying off. Marcus Wyatt was 113 there.
Keep it right. Nice.
So this is to try and stay in front of Martin Stucors. I don't think he's going to catch Marcus Wyatt. 134.4 is good speed. Little brush there. Is he going to be second or third or fourth at the line? 108.86.
Still a great result for Cav.
Yeah.
Can be disappointed, but still can't.
Well, still top 10.
Yeah.
And Boyer, 23rd and 17th on his 2 previous World Cups here. How could Sarah Reid be so short and still get in shot?
It's a skill.
And then try and get herself out of shot. Look, well, you could see the ice flying. If you kick the wall to get that much ice out, you'll break your toes. That's how much energy is going away.
Yeah. That's the difference between finishing, well, coming across line first and fourth.
Yeah, absolutely. So top 10 guaranteed. Martin Stucors offers his congratulations.
I believe that is Kev's best result as well.
6 down, or 6 still to go here. Marcus Wyatt with his best result so far as a top 6 a week ago. Can he hold on ahead of Christopher Groothair of Germany? Groothair again came late in the run, 19th off. This is his 40th World Cup compared to Marcus in his 9th World Cup. So he's got a lot of experience to draw on. So he's kind of, see the toes there almost touching the ice, just shuffling the weight a fraction.
Which is all it takes up there.
Yeah. Nice smooth lines from Groothair. Nice through snake 1 and 2.
It's one of the better lines out of snake we've seen.
Closing to 300s behind. If he gets a good exit from Nash and Dixon, he could well be level at Horseshoe, but has a hit on the wall. He did not need that.
Still green.
Yeah. Speed 103, that's decent. Looking for 113s or higher here now. 114, we'll see him pull away. Okay, 113.6. This is really close with Marcus Wyatt for the lead of the race.
He's going to need to keep it right and keep all the speed going forward.
Absolutely, has a hit out of Sachs. And 136.1 is good speed, but is it enough? He's going to have to steer hard into Portago at the line by 1800s. He is in front. Well, again, like Florian, the fact that Marcus Wyatt drops behind does not necessarily mean he moves no higher up the order. We saw Florian fail to beat Martin Stucors, but he was so close behind Martins that Florian is still in 4th with 5 to go. Auer was 14th or 13th equal after the first heat, so he's already picked up 5 spots.
Did well to control that hit there.
Yeah. And then did what he needed to do off Horseshoe, didn't he? Got the speed out of the exit.
Yep, and that's where experience comes in. Like, he knew he wasn't in the position he would have wanted to have been in.
Well, guaranteed top 6. Christopher Groothair leads Marcus Wyatt and Martin Stucors. 5 to go in St. Moritz. Final 5 sleds, race 5 of the BMW IBSF Men's Skeleton World Cup in St. Moritz in Switzerland. Martin Haven, an Aussie slider. Jacqueline Narracott watching the action trackside. Axel Junk, 6100s off the lead. And 3/10 out of the medals. That's a big stretch, Jax.
It is on any track. And even though this track is so long, that's still it's gonna take someone to stuff up above him, I think.
Which isn't impossible, because you only need one mistake at the bottom of the track and that could all go away.
Yep.
Within 10 meters of the line, you can lose half a dozen places. You know, that's hard enough when you've spent 30 seconds getting a good run. When you've spent a minute and 10 seconds getting a good run, that really is heartbreaking.
Yeah, definitely. He's looking good here. Running speed really well.
Tiny little touch there from Axel. Little flap with the paddles to just get the line right. 6700s up. This is a very fast run, 1:04.9. Great speed.
1:14, wow.
Yeah, second or third fastest of all now. And Axel with a good run. He is shooting for the medals here. Ooh, a little loose at the bottom, 1:35.8. Good speed. He's going to have the lead over Christopher Groothair, his teammate, but by how much? Wow, okay, 1:07.93. Fastest in the first heat was 1:08.20. So the track, as always here, gets quicker as the day goes on and the frost comes off the ice. It's the exact opposite of every other track on the planet. That's because it's so darn cold at night. Well,
It's definitely put the pressure on the guys coming behind him.
but had to work for it. Little toe drag there, and you have a little sticky on the toe to try and help it grip. And again there.
Double toe just to make sure that it definitely came off when he wanted it to.
Yeah. And these all tiny little adjustments, and they all work well for him. That was a flyer. That was a real burner from Axel Jung. Tyfer, beg your pardon, in fourth place after the first heat of 2 here in St. Moritz, Thomas Ducours. Now, he was exactly 2/10 ahead of Germany's Axel Jung, so he now has to produce a track record pretty much to keep that margin alive. 4:93. Now, that's a 10th slower than Jung at the start, so his advantage is now down to 1/10.
Absolutely perfect coming down the straight into the wall.
The most experienced World Cup slider in his 116th start. 1 win at home in Sigulda, 14 silver medals. I think probably at least 10 of them behind brother Martin's, probably more like 12. And they tied here for the silver 3 years ago. They were joint European champions. He's tied for the lead.
Best beat out of Horseshoe.
Wow, 1:05.7. And this is where Thomas really made the run his own in the first heat. 1:14.7, a fraction slower than Harris Cabbage. The fastest sled we've seen in at least a dozen sliders.
Great exit out of Gunter.
Big elbow steer into Sachs, but he got the line he wanted. 1:36.2, very good speed at the line, 84 miles an hour, and across the line, 1:08.09. Well, 1:08.61 in the first heat for him, so that's pretty much half a second quicker. 1:08.09 would have led the first heat by 11 hundredths. So that extra bit of experience, working your way into how the track is today.
And letting it run.
Yeah. And that experience.
Such a good feeling when you get Horseshoe right.
Yeah. So is that enough for a medal for Thomas Ducours? We'll know in a minute or two. Yellow jerseys are World Cup points leader Alexander Tretyakov, the Russian rocket, with a couple of wins under his belt this season. Let's see what he can produce. Tretyakov has got a love-hate relationship with this track. Only once in 14 World Cups has he been, beg your pardon, he's never been on the podium in a World Cup. Only once in 14 races here has he been on the podium. That's when he won the 2013 Worlds. Since then, his most common, and before then, his most common World Cup finish is 4th. To avoid that, he's got to beat Thomas Ducours now.
Almost 0.3 of a second.
Yeah, well, he started 1300s quicker than Thomas, and he had 800s in hand. And that extra momentum from the speed at the start keeps you ahead, doesn't it, all the way down to Horseshoe?
Yeah. Good looking run too.
Yeah.
Nice height.
Little late Nash and Dixon, but he's still 3/10 up.
Oh, 106.
This is for his first ever World Cup medal in St. Moritz, Alexander Tretyakov, in his 101st World Cup race of his career. 3,700s up. This is a real burner from him as well. Track record looking in danger. 1:07.93 is the mark from Axel Jung, and he goes faster by 3/10. 1:07.63. So will we have a race here where neither of the Ducours brothers is on the podium? That hasn't happened since, oh yeah, last year. When Martins finished 3rd, but a week later was disqualified for material contraventions with the runners, we believe, of the sled. So Alexander Tretyakov, this could be his first ever World Cup medal in St. Moritz. That's quite bizarre. You know, success he's had on so many tracks has just eluded him here. Again, you see the skids, though. Nobody can be perfect, even on this track. So Martins and Thomas there to offer their congratulations. 2 to go. We'll have a Russian leader at the end of this run. Will we have a Russian winner? Nikita Tregibov claimed what is, again, bizarrely, his first ever World Cup win in Sigulda.
A bit of a trend happening there.
Can he take another? 492, 1200 slower than his teammate, and he was slower in the first heat as well. Still not firing at his fastest.
Had to control it quite a bit coming out of kink 1, which won't have helped.
So 900s behind at the start, 2/10 back now. There was only 300ths of a second between the Russians in the first heat. Boy, he needs a good bottom half of this track. He's a quarter second back on Tretyakov. Right now, he's ahead of Thomas Ducours. 106.4, joint fastest speed with Tretyakov. But he's still 2/10 back. 116, quicker than Alex. Here we go, he's closing. Is there enough ice left to find 2/10 of a second?
Potentially, definitely.
Yeah, didn't skid into Sachs, carries more speed, 138.2, that's insane speed, and at the line, it's going to be a new track record for Nikita Tregibov. No, 107.73.
That's the start right there.
By 700ths of a second, he was 2/10 up on the penultimate split. Out of Sachs, he was 2/10 up. And the speed at the bottom, 85.8 miles an hour with your chin on the ice. Just think about driving your car on an icy highway at 85 miles an hour and then stick your head on the front bumper. Insane speed, and yet it crept away from him at the bottom. 1 to go, our Olympic champion. 2 silvers, 2 golds in the last 4 outings. In fact, in his only 4 outings on this track. Boom Boom Badger, the sled builder, holding for Sun Bin-yun of Korea. This young man is quite something exceptional. Not only can he start gangbusters, but he has learned how to drive at the highest level so quickly.
Just looks so natural and relaxed on a sled now.
Well, his coach Richard Bromley says you tell him something once, you never mention it again. He just goes, okay, and does it. And, you know, for a coach, that's his instincts don't argue. His instinct is to do what is suggested and try it out, and pretty much it always works. 3,200s up, 3,100s up at the start.
Good line into horseshoe.
His lead over Tretyakov from the first heat was 3,300s, so he is level on this run with Tretyakov 105.7, Tretyakov 106.4. The gap will come down. 115.6, Tregibov was quicker, Tretyakov wasn't. He's going to win this unless he makes a big error here. Little rub, but he's got enough speed. 136.1 is just about enough. Sun Bin-yun of Korea for gold here. It is victory for the Korean. 107.76 sees him win it over Alexander Tretyakov and Nikita Tregibov. Last year's gold medalist. The gold medalist in 2015-16 makes it 3 wins in 5 years. And the disappointing non-winning years, he took a silver medal. So not a bad track for Sun Bin-yun.
Clearly gets along very well with this track.
Yeah. Well, he gets along well with most of them, doesn't he? You know,
Yeah, true.
last year he did 7 World Cup races, won 5 of them. This was 1.
Show off.
And then, yeah, 1 in Pyeongchang, you know, that thing at the end of the year, the non-championship race.
Yeah, that one.
Yeah, that one. So our Olympic champion does it again. Sun Bin-yun of Korea produces 2 great starts and 2 great runs. Track record in the first heat was blown away by Axel Jung in the second, and then by Alexander Tretyakov, but it didn't matter. Yun had enough in hand. Jackie Narakot, that was a really smooth flowing run, wasn't it? Everything you want to see here.
Pretty much, yeah. It's just nice and smooth. Bit of a tap, but, you know, when you're going that fast.
Yeah.
And you're that relaxed too. It's fine.
Yeah. Elbows out in a couple of places, shoulders up a couple of places to get the steers he wanted, but he still won by 2/10 from Alex Tretyakov, Nikita Tretyakov. Tretyakov's first ever World Cup medal here. Thomas Ducours in 4th, ahead of Axel Jung and Christopher Grote here. Marcus Wyatt 7th, Martin Ducours from 20th to 8th. Where would he have been if the sled had stayed in the groove in the first heat? Florian now 9th and 10th place. That's a great run on to give his dad an early birthday present, wasn't it, from Kevin Boyer?
That we stoked with that.
Yeah, so there are the rest of our top 20 finishers after race 5 of the World Cup here in St. Moritz. Well, I always feel, Jackie, as a slider when you come here, you know, you've got to spend all your time focusing on the track, or half your day focusing on the track and your sled and training and keeping yourself healthy and everything. But the environment here is just so amazing. The views and the chances to go out and do a bit of sightseeing, you've got to take them, haven't you?
Yeah, exactly. One of the places on tour where we come here and instantly everyone's in a better mood. It lifts everyone's spirits every time.
Well, you know, you can see all the snow around. You know, the snow's metre deep on the ground, meters deep on the ground. But here in the Engadine Valley, they have over 300 days of sunshine a year. I mean, this is what we've had. Insanely blue skies. You could be on a tropical beach. And actually, when you're in the sunshine, particularly up at the start on the start building, when you're in the sunshine, it is T-shirt weather.
Yeah, it is, which is amazing when it's been minus 20.
And there's the Olympic Stadium with the ice sheet out front of it, where they had curling and speed skating in the 28 and 48 games. And there are some of the attractions, not too far away from us. Everywhere you look around us, there are fabulous mountains and great views, great for skiing, boarding, for walking, hiking in the mountains. Even in this weather, the pistes are beautifully prepared. And the renovated Olympic Stadium, now the home of Rolf Sachs, or one of the homes of Rolf Sachs, you imagine. But he's done a great job. Place looks fabulous. And oftentimes when you come here, the ice sheet is free of snow and ready for curling. So the Dracula Start Club at the top, the Dracula Start House. The Dracula Club is behind there. Private members club, which is a very entertaining place to go. And down at the bottom, Frisoni's Lodge, the new Finnish lodge named after the family that own land on part of which the bobsleigh track runs. And of course, beside us, down the valley, the legendary Cresta Run, which is essentially where Skeleton started, headfirst on primitive sledges. 5th race of the Men's Skeleton World Cup in sunny St. Moritz. Sunbin Jung claims victory here for the 3rd time in 5 years, ahead of Alexander Tretyakov. And as a result, Jung, with a massive 1-point lead, is the new World Cup leader. So fantastic battle between former world champion and former Olympic champion and our reigning Olympic champion at the top of the points. And that will continue in a couple of weeks' time when we head to North America. Jacqueline Narracott, we've got Lake Placid and Calgary, and then the World Championships in Whistler. And Jung, the Olympic champion, Tretyakov, the 2014 Olympic champion, have got to be in the frame for all of those races, haven't they?
Oh, 100%. Calgary is very much a starter's track, so that should play into both Jung and Tretyakov's hands. Both of them are great in Placid, great in Whistler. As far as World Cup leader goes, it's going to come down to the final race in Calgary.
Yeah. So whoever wrestles their way down Lake Placid perhaps will have the best chance. There's Jung in the centre, and bronze medal position. Some mum cordon rouge for Nikita Tretyakov. That takes the place of the sponsors option. Silver medal for Alexander Tretyakov. Incredibly, his first ever World Cup medal here. And victory for the 3rd time in 5 years for Sunbin Jung, a career, his 2nd straight here. Got a few more to add in a run before he matches Martin Ducours.
Where's the champagne spraying?
Well, now they're going to save it for a rainy day. That's it from the Men's Skeleton World Cup. Thank you to you for being with us. Thanks to Jacqueline Narracott for a fantastic debut on the mic. Well done, Jackie. You're welcome anytime you wish, but we'd rather see you sliding. That's it for the men. The women are up on ice at 1300 local, 1200 Greenwich Mean Time. Wherever you are, please join us for that. For more stunning sliding in St. Moritz. Until then, from me, Martin Haven, and the crew here, goodbye for now.